Hi, welcome to this Essentials practice. It's called cross ventilation. The cross is the side-to-side work that we're going to be exploring outer hips, low back, side ribs. That helps us breathe easier, and that's what the ventilation is about as well. In addition to the side body work, we're going to be practicing some arm stretches to help make breathing easier. Have a block at the ready, and also have a strap in particular for some arm work that we will do toward the end of our practice today. And so let's begin. We're going to start in Balasana, so child's pose. And if you need some support for between hips and heels, go ahead. If you need some support for your knees or your ankles, you can find some. Roll up or fold up your mat, or if you have a blanket. And pause here, allowing the bent knees to start to relax. Allow your lumbar spine to relax. And breathe into your side bodies a few times. So it's like you're breathing into your side ribs. Once you start to relax down here, your arms can be out in front of you. Palms down is option one. Option two, you can have your palms face one another, or even turn your palms skyward. This external rotation gets a little bit more into your side ribs and your underarms. And you can breathe into your side ribs and underarms here. If that doesn't work for your shoulder, of course, you go back to whatever pose, whatever arm variation works for you. And then from here, you're going to take your head and arms over to one side. Doesn't matter which, I'm going to the right. And as you go to one side, breathe into the opposite side ribs and the opposite low back. And notice how the breath can really influence the stretch on our side body. You're going to take your head and arms back into the middle. Breath here. And then you can take your head and arms over to the other side. And your head and arms are on one side. Breathe into the side that's getting a stretch. And allow the breath to do work here a few times. A few breaths. Okay, great. And then from here you come back to center. Take an inhale and exhale here. All right, and you can slide forward into Sphinx pose. So you're going to lie face down. Curl your toes under, press your heels back. And this is already option number two. Option number one, you can have your elbows out to the sides. Option number two, if you want to take a little bit of a back bend, you press your heels back and then lift your lungs forward. And see if you can breathe into your heart space a few times. The tendency here is for the shoulders to hike up toward the ears. If you can, draw your shoulder blades away from your ears. And it's like you're breathing into the tips of your lungs, the apex of the lungs. So whenever I cue breathe into your collarbones, that's breathing into the top lobes of the lungs. And you can either stay here breathing into the top lobes of the lungs, or take your head and arms to one side, like a side Sphinx pose. Once again, I'm going to the right to start, but you can go whichever way. And so as you're going in one direction, see if you can breathe into the opposite low back. So if you're going to the side, try to breathe into your low back. Breathe into QL, the side of your lumbar spine. And then you come back to center, and you take your head and arms over to the other side. Shoulders gently away from your ears. Whichever side's getting a stretch, breathe into it. And one last breath here. Okay, great. And then you come back to center, plant your hands, come through hands and knees. And then you're going to lift your upper thighs back into downward facing dog. So several breaths here. You can lift your inner thighs up and press your heels back. And so a few breaths here. Drive your hands through the floor. And then lift your upper thighs straight, back and up. Upper thighs lift back and up. 2 more breaths here, and then we'll take a little variation for outer hip. Okay, so you're going to keep your right leg as straight as you can. Lift your inner thigh up. And then press your right heel back, bend your left knee forward and down a little. So this will take your left hip down a little and give your outer right hip a bit more of a stretch. If that also feels like a calf stretch, an increased calf stretch on the right, that is true. But see if you can breathe into the outside of your right hip. Take a deep breath in, big exhale, and then you come back to center. You're now going to keep your left leg relatively straight, thigh lifting up. As you exhale, you bend your right knee toward the floor. That drops your right hip down as well. So it swivels the hip socket on the left, and in addition to a calf stretch on the left, you may also get an outer left hip stretch. Breathe into that hip stretch 2 or 3 more times. Very good. Okay, and then from there, come back to center, press your heels back, take a deep breath in, and then bend your knees, exhale, step up to the top of your mat. Drive your feet through the floor. Inhale, look forward, breathe into the apex of your lungs as you look forward, and then exhale as you round. And let's come all the way up to standing. Arms sweep up overhead, interlace your fingers and press your palms up. So 2 breaths here. Breathe into your side ribs. Good, take a deep breath in, lift your triceps up a little higher, and then exhale, release your hands, feet comfortably wide. And I'm going to mirror you, so this is my left arm, but you're going to reach your right arm up as you inhale. Take a huge inhale, and then pause the breath. Inhale even more as you lift up higher. Now hold the breath again as you fold to the left. This is going to give you a stretch down the whole right lateral line. And then exhale as you come out. And same thing on the left side. Reach your left arm up. Slide the left lateral line up as high as you can. Hold your inhale as you fold to the right. And exhale as you come back out. Let's try that again on the first side. Right arm up. Inhale, part 2, lift higher. Hold the breath. It's like you're folding over your breath. And then exhale as you come out. Left arm up, take a deep breath in. Part 2, lift a little higher. Hold the breath as you fold to the right. And exhale as you come out. And 4 more of these. Take a deep breath in. Inhale even more to the apex of your lungs. Hold the breath as you fold. Keep your legs straight. And exhale as you come out. On your left side, reach it up. Fingerprints as high as you can. Hold the breath. Fold over the breath. And exhale as you come out. And once more per arm, reach your right arm up. Drive your feet down as you lift fingerprints up. Hold the breath and fold. And as you exhale, come back to center. One more time on the left side, take a deep breath in. Part 2, lift it even higher. Hold the breath as you fold. And exhale as you come out from there. Okay, a couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction. A couple shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. And then grab your block, and we'll take side angle on the right side first. So again, I'm mirroring you. So you're gonna take your right toes out to the right, and you're gonna take the block to the inside of the foot. That gets a nice inner leg stretch here. You're gonna bend your right knee, and so now that the knee it keeps from falling in by your bottom arm. So your bottom hand can press into the block, bottom arm nice and solid. You're gonna roll your navel up toward the ceiling, and this helps line up this side body. And you're gonna reach your arm up overhead. This is option number 1. Option number 2 is you reach your arm by your ear. And just like we did in Balasana, in child's pose, you can externally rotate the arm. So the elbow point kind of comes down, the bicep rolls up. This gives you more stretch in your underarm and your side ribs. So external rotation in your top arm, and as you reach overhead, press that back heel down. Breathe into your left side twice more. Breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, hand back onto hip. drive your feet down to come up, bring your block with you. Bend your knees a little bit to take the other side, left toes out to the left. You're gonna bend the knee out and take the block so that the hand can press into the block. Arm keeps the knee from tilting inward, okay? And so the knee can go forward, heel presses back. From there, your navel's gonna roll up toward the ceiling, and option number 1 for your arm is overhead. Option number 2, you take it by your ear, and the external rotation, it's like you're trying to look at your elbow point, and then you reach. So you're spiraling the arm just like we did as option number 2 in child's pose. That helps get the side bodies, get the space around the lungs. Breathe into your right side another 2 or 3 times. Okay, great. And then take your top hand back to hip. Press your feet down. Take your block with you to come up. And let's take side angle again. Right toes to the right. Block in the same place. Bottom arm in the same place. The rest of the pose is in the same place. From here, the top arm goes up. Instead of by your ear and external rotation, you're actually going to rotate it inward. Turn your palm away from you. And then turn it behind you. You're going to bend your arm. Take the back of your hand to the back of your torso and try to slide your hand down toward the floor. Some of you may be able to hold your front thigh with the top hand, okay? But you're going in that direction, and then breathe into the apex of your top lung. So you're rolling your heart up toward the ceiling. Breathe into your left collarbone as much as you can. And if this feels okay for your shoulder joint, also slide your shoulder blade away from your ear. Yeah, good. And breathe into the top lung one more time. Take an inhale. And exhale, top hand to hip. Bring the block with you to come up at a side angle. Bend the knees, switch sides. Left toes turn to the left. You bend your knee out, hand to block the floor. So everything about this side angle is similar to the first time we did it. The difference is the top arm's gonna reach up. You're gonna turn the palm away from your head, behind you, and then bend your elbow and take the back of your hand to the back of your torso. If that feels okay, you stay here. If it feels all right, you slide it down even further. Some of you may be able to hold your front thigh with the arm that's wrapped around, okay? And you're gonna roll your navel up, and all that's in the service of trying to get that like cross ventilation, to get the side body, to get the outer, to get the tips of the shoulders stretched out, so you can really breathe into it, free up the lungs. And last 2 or 3 breaths here, breathe into the tip top of your right lung. Shoulder blade, if it's okay, shoulder blade draws away from your ear. You'll get even more of a stretch around the top of your shoulder. And one last breath here. All right, very good. Top hand to hip, grab your block to come up, straighten the front leg. You're gonna turn your both toes inward slightly for a wide-legged forward fold. And you can take the block to the side, hands down to the floor, and let's get a hamstring stretch. You can round your spine. All right, so hands on the floor somehow. You can always bend your knees a little bit to make this easier for your hands. And then from here, to get a stretch around the space between the shoulder blades, you can round your spine a little, and then you're gonna bend your elbows, and it's like both elbow points are sliding through your legs, like away from your face. So what that does is draw the shoulder blades out to the sides. It's called protraction. And if you protract the shoulder blades, you stretch the muscles in between. I'm thinking rhomboids in particular. Then you can breathe into the space between your shoulder blades and actually help free up your breath by breathing into the mid-back. So we loosen up the mid-back in this way. So another few breaths here. Elbow points sliding through legs as far as you can go. And you're breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. 2 or 3 more breaths here. Okay, very nice. And then from here, you bring your hands forward a little bit, heel toe yourself back together, and come all the way up to standing, to the top of the mat. Drive your feet down, reach your arms up. Huge inhale here. And then exhale, you bend your knees, you forward fold. Inhale, look forward. Breathe into the tips of your lungs. And then exhale, plant your hands. We're gonna just step back into downward facing dog. So 2 breaths here. Drive your hands through the floor, lift your upper thighs back, and notice the increase in the ability to breathe a lot. So my hope is that the arms feel freer, shoulder joints feel freer, side ribs feel more free. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, knees come down, and we're gonna come around to seated. Once again, I'm mirroring you. I'm taking my left leg out, but you're gonna take your right foot out and bring your left knee in. Doesn't have to be in against pubic bone or anything like that. Just have it so that this feels okay. And then right hand onto the floor, roll your navel away. And from here, reach your left arm up. So this is sort of a seated parallel to side angle. So you're gonna reach your arm up, rotate your navel back, and breathe into your left side a few times. For those with more flexible hamstrings, you can always slide your bottom hand down your leg a little bit. But keep on rotating your belly to the left to breathe into your left side and get a stretch. 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale, big exhale, and one last time. Breathe in. Okay, top hand back to hip, come all the way up. You can switch the legs. So now your left leg's gonna straighten out, right knee bends. Make sure this feels comfortable. And from here, left hand to the inner leg, you're gonna roll your navel to the right. Okay? And then you reach top arm up overhead. So we're getting a big stretch here. You can add a little bit of that external rotation that we've added a couple times already. And then breathe into your right side. As you're breathing to right, if it makes sense, you slide your hand down the leg and breathe into your right. So yeah, breathe into right low back, breathe in the right side ribs. Another 2 or 3 breaths here. Okay, great. And then take your top hand to your hip. Inhale, come all the way up, and you can do this last practice. Grab your strap. You can do this last practice cross-legged, or even on a chair if you'd like. Or because we haven't done this, but we sort of prepped it in child's pose, you can always sit on the heels. So to have a little more knee bend, get a front of the leg stretch. Okay, but the seat's up to you. You're going to take the strap, and it's good. You're going to take it in both hands, both arms up overhead. So, I said overhead. Really, they're like more out to the side. You're going to send your thumb line out. So the thumbs go out wide, like you're trying to leave a thumbprint on the side walls. Inhale, your arms are up, and then exhale, you lower the strap behind you and down. And the wider you make the strap, the more you'll be able to do this. See to it that the shoulder blade's okay, and the whole time the thumbs are pressing out. So it's like I'm sending my thumbprints to the side walls. I usually inhale as I lift the arms, and exhale as I lower. And my breath is focused. It's thoracic breathing, and even I call it clavicular breathing, the breathing in the top of the lungs. If this feels very easy for you, shorten the strap a little, and as you go back, you'll get more of a hard stretch, like this. And this is the last practice we're doing today. Thumb prints out to the sides as best you can. Exhale as you lower behind you. Inhale as you lift. The tighter side, the arm will usually want to bend. So keep the arms straight. There's another few breaths here. All right. Very good. And then as you exhale, you can release the strap. All right, a couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction, a couple shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. All right, and take a deep heart-centered breath. Hopefully, it feels we've created a lot of space, room for the breathing, and that you can breathe a little more easier for the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Take care. Namaste.